I'm not joking you. Obviously, right in the Tilton. And this is no exaggeration. The Tilton was literally bouncing. I mean, literally. Do you know when you feel the planks that you stand on? It was literally vibrating. Everybody was up for that, and what a fantastic thing for Yuki to have the adulation that may well be his last playing season. I don't know for us, and to score like that in front of the Tilton, it was absolutely fabulous. I've never felt a reaction like that in terms of the way that the actual stand was bouncing when he scored. It was amazing.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And on Saturday, Birmingham City beat Barnsley 6-2 in the most amount of goals we've scored in a League One game this season. Now, we've got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to keep this intro short. We've got a red card, we've got 8 goals, and we've got a moment of magic at the end of the game as well. So, Dad, Birmingham City 6, Barnsley 2. What were your thoughts?
Fantastic. Sun was shining, great atmosphere. And, a really interesting game because Barnsley came to us with a really fantastic away record. In fact, they got the third equal away record of points in the whole league. So we knew that they could, cause us problems. Clearly, the sending off caused them an issue right early on. But unlike a lot of teams, Barnsley had a go. They played some football and tried to come at us. And I think when I looked at this game, reflected on the game, it made me think this is why teams play the low block, because if they don't and they do what Barnsley did, that shows what we can do to a team if they start to come at us. But absolutely fantastic result, and it gets us so close to promotion. In fact, if we beat Peterborough on Tuesday, we'll be a Championship club again.
I know, incredible.
Can't believe it's brilliant, isn't it?
It's absolutely amazing. And let's start it off with a bit of kudos, Dad, and I agree. I think they did sit back Barnsley, but the 10 men naturally made them change their shape. But what they did do well was counter-attack, and they didn't relent on the counter-attack. And in the first half, at one point, it was end-to-end.
Yeah.
They hit the post from a corner. We went up and had a couple of chances.
The Mark Roberts long throw.
We'll get on to it in a minute, but they scored for one of the Mark Roberts throws. My head was in my hands. Oh, my word.
Well, we had two ex-Blues players, obviously Mark Roberts and Corey O'Keefe. And when they equalised, Corey O'Keefe was like, saying, calm down to the Tilton, and then he got right pelters when we started scoring goals. Anyway, we'll come on to that now anyway, but just the starting lineup was absolutely identical to the starting lineup against Bristol Rovers, apart from Paik came in the starting lineup and Leonard went back on the bench. Besides that, it was identical. So we were all thinking, was there any rotation? Clearly there wasn't. I think Chris Davis has clearly prioritised getting the points to get us promoted. So very, very familiar team with us now, and that's who started the line. But then the game kicked off, and then all chaos broke loose. Then didn't it? Really?
I know, yeah. Literally from minute 2 was it or minute 3?
Third minute, yeah. Third minute, yeah. And then probably was minute 2 when he did the tackle. It's the third by the time.
Yeah, but the game didn't really relent from there, did it? But of course, that is a huge talking point that impacted the game, no doubt about it. Red card, yes or no?
Well, I had a chat with the chap who sits next to me, and I think that if it was against us, I would have felt that a yellow would probably have been about right. But it was a red card. I mean, the referee gave the red card based strictly on the laws of the game, which said that if you're the last man, you deny a goal scoring chance, you've got to give a red card.
Yeah,
and that's why the referee gave it. But I think if it was against us, we would have said a yellow would have probably been sufficient. And I think if the referee had given a yellow, I think nobody would have really sort of caused a major problem with that.
It was soft.
It was soft.
There's no doubt. The amount of times we've sat opposite each other this season and a decision's gone against us and we've gone, how did the referee give that soft? I think it's only fair, even when it's given to Blues, that we call it out as well. And that was a soft red card.
It was soft, but strictly speaking, the referees apply. But then I'm sure the Barnsley fans and the Barnsley players would argue, he was going through, but we had other defenders that were close. So what he was his last man.
Technically, if you watch the replay, I mean, Mark Roberts is close, but if you're going to do the laws of the game and put the lines out like the VAR guys would do, he was the last man.
He was.
But it looked to me like Keshi kind of lost his footing.
He did because he knocked him over.
But it looked like the contact was minimal.
Yeah,
and it almost looked like Keshi lost his footing. But I think what happened was I can't remember his name, but when he went across him, it looked like his hand had kind of pushed him down a bit. But either way, Dad, it's a red card. It changes and impacts the game.
Regardless of that, what a ball from Allsop.
Yeah, I know. And that's the difference it makes, isn't it? Having a goalkeeper that can distribute like that. Yeah. Straight through on goal, Keshi Anderson from that.
Yeah.
And fantastic ball. The ref gives a red and it changes Barnsley's shape and structure from there, doesn't it, really? But yeah, and for me, a soft red, but if the ref, I guess, is going by the laws of the game and it's the last man, he has to give a red, doesn't he?
Yeah, the referees actually applied the laws correctly. It's just that, thinking, well, if that was us, you'd think, well, actually, you would feel that was harsh. But it's strictly speaking, it is a red card because that's what the laws of the game say. So they went down to 10 men.
Yep.
And then, they had a chance not long after that, So they went down to 10 men and we're thinking, here we go. And again, this is Mark Roberts, the ball came in, didn't it, as well, tussled with Ben Davis at the far post. And somehow the ball pinged and hit the post, didn't it?
I know.
And it would have gone in because Allsop was just he was far enough away from it for it to have gone in. So that could have actually been 1-0 to them.
I think that, I don't want to exaggerate this, by the way, but I think our Achilles heel this season, if we are going to pick anything that we have to definitely improve on next season, it's balls in the box, isn't it? Whether it be a corner, whether it be a long throw, whether it be a free kick. When we get peppered in the box or when long balls come in, we do look a little bit vulnerable sometimes,
at the start of the season, we were very, very prone to that.
Yeah.
And then we had this spell where we basically weren't conceding hardly any goals. And now it seems to have crept back in a little bit. We've seen the last couple of games, we've seen a bit of vulnerability in those type of situations. But I'm sure Chris Davis sees it. They'll address that, either for the remainder of the games and for the and through the summer as well if we need to. But that was a chance for them.
I think it's a very League One attribute as well, Dad. Long throw-ins. It's 2025. Who does long throw-ins anymore? Corners. Corners. League One teams are very good at corner. Set pieces in League One actually are probably stronger, arguably, than the Championship. They're very physical teams, very tall teams.
Because they have to be, really, because in this league, the players aren't as technically good as they are in higher leagues. So obviously set pieces are a key part of them being able to score, so they have to be good at them. We had a chance as well not long after that. That's when Keshi had a fantastic run. Kieran Dow, who I thought was brilliant again, Dow. He crossed it into Keshi, acres of space, and he put his sort of volleyed it wide from about 8 yards out, and everyone was thinking, how did he miss that? Because it could have. A lot of people say, it would have been easier to score. Clearly, we're not the footballer. If you get a ball pinged in at many mile an hour, it's obviously a lot harder than it looks. But for Keshi, you'd have thought he'd have scored that.
I don't know whether this was before our goal or after our first goal, Dad, but Barnsley went on another counter-attack. I think it was Humphreys. I think it was a mistake by one of us. He went through, not quite through on goal. We had cover, but he just hit it straight towards Allsop as well. Another half chance for Barnsley.
That's when he tried the long shot.
Yeah. Another half chance for Barnsley.
I think a decent quality player, because Allsop was well off his line, would have potentially tried to ping it.
Would a Championship team have punished you there?
Yes, I think so, possibly, and that's something we have to obviously be aware of for next season. But we had another chance as well, which Corey O'Keefe played it straight to Jay Standsfield, and he was through on goal, and we all thought this is going to be it now. But obviously, what Jay tried to do was take it round the goalkeeper, and clearly the defenders then caught. So, where I think instinctively, if he would have shot, he probably would have had a better chance to score. But he didn't score. So
I think Alfie May was rubbing off on him a little bit, because that's an Alfie May thing, isn't it? To take it around the keeper. He's done it a couple of times this season. But you're right. I thought Jay might have scored that, but it wasn't to be. And then, Dad, we get a penalty, and for me, this was a clear-cut penalty.
Oh yeah.
And what? In my opinion, I think the Barnsley keeper will be kicking himself here, because Keshi Anderson, he never had the ball massively under his control. So if the keeper just sat back and let him, he might not have had that. We might not have had the threat we had if he just wiped him out.
Yeah, the nature of the way that the goalkeeper went in, he basically completely totaled Anderson.
Definite penalty.
Anderson was going away from the goal at an angle. But obviously the goalkeeper lunged at him, and then it was definitely. But you can't argue with that as a penalty.
No, definite penalty.
That was a clear cut penalty. Now we have had a lot of penalties this year, and I know some fans from other clubs are making a lot of this, saying, "Oh yeah, you just Birmingham City, you're getting loads and loads of penalties." But the thing is, our players are that good; they're generally getting fouled in the box. If you want to see sort of light penalties, go and look at some of the penalties that Wrexham or Wycombe or other teams have got this season.
Also, that I would only say our fortunes of penalties have only turned around the second half of this season. The first half of the season, we were screaming left, right, and centre. We weren't getting penalties at all. I think we've only just got penalties this last. What do you reckon? 10 to 15 games, as in consistently, decent decisions from the referee who are picking up on things. It's not as if we've been getting this since August last season.
I mean, to be fair to Conor Hourihane, he looked back, he thought it was a penalty. No, sorry, he didn't say that. He thought that the sending off was a sending off.
Was?
He said
Did
it was.
he?
Yeah, he did. In his
That's
post
surprising.
But what I'm getting at for most managers when they say, oh, it's a light penalty, and you've got that because it's Birmingham City and you're in front of a big crowd. That's completely unfair because actually, if they look really at some of the decisions that we've got, they are real penalties, and they're not really that questionable. But Stansfield stepped up and took it. And what I liked about the penalty as well is that Stansfield is almost became a little bit predictable, knocking the penalty down the middle. But this one, he tucked in just inside the left-hand post or the goalkeeper's right-hand post. It was a perfect penalty. I thought, because obviously we were in the tilt, and I thought, that looks close. He's going to save that because the goalkeeper dived the right way. But because of where he put it, it was brilliant. So and that put Jay on 18 league goals, which is joint top now of the League One goal scoring charts with Kone.
Absolutely.
So hopefully he can get a few more and win the Golden Boot.
Well, I would say, Dad, as well, it's a good penalty when the keeper goes the right way and it still goes in. And
yes,
it literally tucked it right in by the post. It was a great penalty.
I liked it because it showed a bit of variation. Because I noticed on a lot of other penalties that Jay took before that, they was down the middle, and I think that's when the one that was saved was the goalkeeper had worked that out. But fair play to Jay, that was 1-0. Yeah. But then they went up the other end and scored and then equalised, didn't they? So again, long throw from Mark Roberts, and we didn't deal with it, did we? Because it was, and that's where the problem is we know the ball's coming in. You've got to win that first ball. We didn't.
I think that's why Williamson got subbed, Dad, because the ball comes in. What's so poor is the player wins the header between Williamson and Cochrane. Williamson doesn't even get his feet off the floor. Anyway, by the way, I'm not scapegoating Williamson for this goal. I'm just making an observation.
He wasn't very well.
After this, was that?
Chris Davis said he had like a virus, and like they tried him, and he was just ill. They said it's something viral. So
fair enough.
That's why they took him off.
Well, fair enough.
And he did look a little bit out of sorts. But my argument would be, if there's if you're not feeling him, just leave him out.
Yeah.
Just leave him out. So that's actually a decision that maybe shouldn't have been made to start him.
Anyway, the ball went between Cochrane and Williamson. Both of them failed to win that first header. You've got to win that first header. You've got to, especially at this level in terms of with the set pieces that we just spoke about earlier. Back stick, and then Awata can't quite get there in time, and it's just a tap-in really at the back post.
That's Davis Kellior-Dunn.
Such a disappointing goal. But what I will say, Barnsley, and don't celebrate like that in front of the Tilton again, because it will come back and bite you in the bum.
I know they were going like this. And I thought, but we'll come on to that later in the game because that really, really bit them in the bum. They did that when we scored at their place as well. I think it was Corey O'Keefe again because he obviously exploded.
10 men down at top of the league, and that's not arrogant. That's just a fact that the odds are that this game's going to turn around, and you start doing the old. I think even Conor Horan on the side started doing it as well because obviously ex-Villa.
Anyway, that was they had another chance as well before Barnsley just before half time. O'Keefe crossed it for Adam Phillips, and because there's got some good players in their time, and he headed it wide. Cochrane just did enough just to put him off. So it was 1-1 at half time.
Before we get into the madness of the second half, because we've got a lot of goals to discuss, something that I've picked up, which I'm really enjoying, is we're carrying the ball a bit more. So what I've noticed is in two players in particular, Clara and Dowell, when they get on the ball, they're actually bringing it forward, and it's making a massive difference. And we've spoken this season about getting stuck in that side to side and these little triangles, but we don't move forward with the triangles and these things. When Clara picks it up and drives it, when Dowell picks it up and drives it, because they both move through different different levels of the zones of the game, exactly. So when they do that, it makes a massive difference, and I'm really enjoying it when they get it and drive. And you've mentioned this previously, Dad. It kind of reminds me of what Bielek used to do. Yeah. Picks the ball, brings it forward, and it completely can knock the team out of kilter because they're not expecting it.
No, and that's what Bielek is very good at, driving the ball forward. But so it was 1-1 at half time, and we weren't disappointed because we were playing well and we had chances. But at half time, we felt that they had 10 men and that that we had given them a few chances. But then the second half started and we scored really early. In the second half, this was an interesting one.
Who scored this one?
Well, exactly, because it was a Dowell corner, wasn't it? It was headed back across the goal by Clara, and then it went to it was Ben Davis who hit it in, and Alfie was sort of near the goal line, but I don't think it touched Alfie. I think he swung at it, but and then I think BBC reported that it was apparently that it was Alfie's goal, but actually it was Ben Davis because I don't think Alfie got a touch on it.
It looked to me like it went Ben Davies off the defender. in the goal, which means it would be Ben Davies' goal. By the way, I do not care. I'm glad Alfie May's got another tick, but it would have been nice for Ben Davies to score.
I thought it was Ben Davies, but it did look, because it was played right to Alfie. I think he swung at it, but didn't make any contact with it.
Also, as well, Dad, Alfie's goal, Ben Davies' goal, own goal. It doesn't. Who cares? We still scored, but it just shows that Alfie May is always in those positions, isn't he, where he's dangerous and he questions whether he scored the goal. So his positioning is outstanding.
And that comes on to the third goal, which is Alfie again, and that was excellent. His positioning again. This again, another sort of Wrexham-esque cross from Cochrane from the left-hand side, just to curl it in. And Alfie, because he's in that position you're talking about, Matt, headed it in.
I've literally got
I mean, see, I'd obviously for teams that concede goals to headers to Alfie May, you should be embarrassed with yourself.
But doesn't that show the quality of the ball from Cochrane? He's managed to dip it between two defenders.
It is. It's two things, isn't it? It's the quality of that ball is fantastic, but the positioning of Alfie is big, and that's what Alfie does, isn't it? We said that he's getting back to the player now that we know that he understands his position. That made it 3-1.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. In my notes, I've literally got Standsfield goal against Wrexham. Yeah, because it was a mirror image, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, if Cochrane can do that, then obviously we should. We get strikers that are anticipating that. We should score a lot more goals like that. Yeah. But that was 3-1. Then we thought, okay, that's brilliant. We're 2 goals ahead, and then Barnsley went and scored again. Didn't that? And I was disappointed with this goal. I was, and
on a few levels here.
Yeah, it was Stephen Humphries who scored. I mean, to be fair, it was decent play by Barnsley. To be fair, they cut through our defence, played a through ball to Humphries, and he was going off at an angle. But I think what caught Allsop out was the angle, because I think Allsop was expecting the cross, because Humphries was going to the goal line, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But away from the goal, and he knocked it, and Allsop dived at it, and it just hit his arm, but just scrummed underneath.
Did,
and I think it's because Allsop was expecting the cross, but it was a decent goal. But Stephen Humphries is a decent player, and he scored plenty of goals this season.
He caused us some problems at Oakwell.
Yes,
a few problems. I'm not saying he had an amazing game, but he just caused us some issues, didn't he? At Oakwell. So he's a physical guy, isn't he? And again, Dad, I know you like those kind of strikers where they put themselves about and they're quite a nuisance.
Yeah. And physical old style.
Exactly.
A bit like a Yuki-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
But that was 3-2. And then I was thinking, I hope the game finishes, because I predicted 3-2 to lose, didn't I? And I thought 3-2. But then really the floodgates open. I think this is where what happened now was that they've been playing for 10 men all game, and as we do, we wear teams down.
Yeah, they were shattered.
And I think this is what happened here with Barnsley. We scored another goal. Again, Luke Harris scored this one. This was a good goal as well.
Lovely link-up play with Alfie May here.
It was fantastic, wasn't it? But I like the way that Luke Harris had the confidence to take the ball, because he could have easily have thought, I'll just ping it to Alfie, because he was close to him. No, he drove it into the left-hand corner. That made it 4-2. And that was a good goal. And fair play to Luke Harris. He came and celebrated in the corner of the Tilton, and and really enjoyed that one, I think.
Well, I'd say to Luke Harris, Dad, it's fair play to him. He's had his critics this season, including me and you. We've called him out sometimes when the performances haven't been to the level that we've been maybe expecting. But fair play, he's coming off the bench, he's making that impact, he's scoring a few goals, he's doing some good link-up play. I mean, is there an argument that he's maybe making his way back into the first team here?
Well, I mean, knows, you're right. Last couple of games, he's either assisted or scored, hasn't he?
Exactly.
And I think he's doing what he can. So fair play to him.
I think if you come on, Dad, as a number 10 or a winger or whatever, and you're assisting goals and you're scoring goals, the manager can't ignore that, can they?
No.
Is he working his way into the first team again? Who knows?
Possibly. But he gives us a bit of mobility because of his age and his energy, and for him, it was just the have more impact in a game, because it's obvious as a decent player there. He's a very, very good player, but now he's having the impact. He's starting to show a bit of a bit of like,
and that's what we've said all season, Dad. When we have been critical, we've said there's a quality player in there. He's just not quite hit the standard we thought he would.
Starting to show it now.
He's starting to show it now.
We had a fantastic chance just after we scored our 4th goal as well. Jay Standsfield, he basically wellied the ball. He got the ball on the turn, wellied it from 25 yards, hit the post. Oh my word! If that had gone in, it wouldn't probably been quite as Yuki-esque, but it was a fantastic volley. It was a sort of a half volley, and he was unlucky not to put that in.
Yeah.
Then we got the 5th. Now Dowell, for me, to me, this is my pick of the goals this season. Yuki won in a minute for a different reason, but this is the way that Dowell controls the ball. He's got defenders all around him, but he sort of flicks it one side and he just dinks it on the other side, makes some room. It's a very, very good goal, that is.
Well, I would say that what impressed me the most about this goal was the fact that the ball was bobbling or kind of moving quite quickly. His body was moving quite quickly, and he managed to keep the ball completely in his possession.
Yeah.
I know this is a completely exaggerated comparison. But you know when you watch someone like Phil Foden and the ball just sticks to his feet.
Yeah.
It kind of had that element to it where although it was bobbling, it was bouncing, he was moving, he kept the ball right on his feet. Brilliant finish. And again, Kieran Dell's proving a real asset, isn't he?
I think he's absolutely fabulous. I do. I'm pretty sure that when I've read that Chris Davis wants to sign him.
Yeah.
Rangers fans are saying you can have him. Well, thank you, Rangers fans. Honestly, I don't know what it is with Rangers, but people are saying that Dowell and Davis, they just know, and they probably didn't have any impact at Rangers. But I'm telling you, as Birmingham City supporters, those two have been outstanding for us, both of them, and I hope we sign both of them. But that was a great goal. I thought that was the best goal in terms of the best technical goal that we scored.
Well, let's get the best goal around emotion then, Dad. Go on,
this one, Yuki. We came on and everyone's singing. If Yuki scores, we're on the pitch. And Chris Davis said, didn't he? He was a bit worried for the stewards when Yuki scored because he thought. But he said, thankfully they stayed in the stands. But I'm not joking. When that goal came in, let's talk about the goal first. First, the ball comes over to him, and the goalkeeper saves the initial chance, doesn't it? But he just pings to him and he just flicks it back.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Obviously, right in the Tilton. And this is no exaggeration. The Tilton was literally bouncing. Yeah. I mean, literally. When you feel the planks that you stand on, it was literally vibrating. Everybody was up for that, and what a fantastic thing for Yuki to have the adulation that may well be his last playing season. I don't know for us, and to score like that in front of the Tilton, it was absolutely fabulous. I've never felt a reaction like that in terms of the way that the actual stand was bouncing when he scored. It was amazing.
I mean, Dad, have we ever had someone who's been so loved by the fans? I know we have club legends, we have Trevor, we've had some great players over the years, but has there ever been a player who's built such a connection with the fan base as Yuki? I mean, it's incredible. Everyone loves the guy. When he scores, the place rocks and bounces. I mean, fair play to him. What a moment for him. I'm glad he managed to get that, because if he does retire this season, if he does go into coaching, whatever the future holds for Yuki, that moment will go down, won't it, in a lot of Blues fans' memories as almost like maybe the final hurrah for Yuki. I don't think maybe he's not going to score in front of the Tilton like that again. And what a moment. Well, just absolutely fantastic.
He's 36, so, he's the right age for Wrexham. But I'm only joking. But he's a legend, isn't he? I was so pleased. I think that's why everybody was so up when he scored that goal, because they wanted it for him. And what I loved as well, the way the players just literally, even Allsop ran from the goal. He doesn't do that very often to celebrate a goal. And they just absolutely bombarded him. So he's going to remember that for the rest of his life, that goal, because it was so good. That was
as will the fans, Dad.
Yeah, 6-2 as well. With that goal as well, with the celebration, you would have thought it was like our first goal, or it was a goal that was going to get us like. We could score a really important goal, but we were 5-2 up at the time. But the celebration was
because it was Yuki, Dad, and it reminded me. Do you know when we played Wigan earlier in the season and we scored that last minute goal and. The limbs in the Tilton was spreading around social media. I've watched that celebration back about 1,000 times already on
the Wigan one.
The one with Yuki. So Yuki and the Wigan goal were so close in terms of limbs.
Wright, that was,
Scott Wright. The Tilton were just bouncing for both of those goals, and I think Yuki took it up a notch because of the emotion around it being Yuki. But it just reminded me of that moment, and just bouncing.
I've not felt the Tilton bounce like that, and obviously been watching for many years. It was so good as well. But 6-2 win, Matt, 3 points. Now that win, because Wickham lost, now means that we effectively need 2 points to secure promotion. But actually, because of our goal difference, we probably need 1. So if we beat Peterborough on Tuesday at Peterborough, we are promoted. We're not champions yet because Wrexham won their game, so I think we need 5 points to be champions. But promotion could be achieved on Tuesday against Peterborough before we go to our big game at Wembley.
Imagine that. Imagine being at Wembley, Dad, knowing that we're 100% confirmed championship.
It's going to be a party anyway, Wembley, ain't it, Matt? And we're going to, even if we haven't secured it by then, it's still going to be a party because we're there, in terms of just need that final point now, really, or final 2 points to get there. But from a Barnsley perspective, they didn't sell out their away end, and I was surprised by that because they're a well-supported club, Barnsley.
I think in the preview that I mentioned about the ownership, didn't I, and how fed up they are. I think it's a fan base who are fed up with their ownership and they're protesting with their feet.
They're to me. I looked at their team and watched their performance, and they're clearly an underperforming team. They're better than 10th or 11th in the league, wherever they are at the moment. They are better than that, and obviously they've got good players. And I think with a proper setup and a few extra players in the team, they could really challenge for next season. But I think the fans are very frustrated with this season. They shouldn't be that far down the table. They are one of the best attacking teams that we've seen at St Andrews. At least they've come to have a go. They're not brilliant, but they were good. And
Well, at least they didn't put 11 men, 10 men behind the ball after 3 minutes. At least they tried to counter. They tried to have a go. I mean, we've said this, haven't we? At least, all right, fair enough. We have thumped them 6-2, but in a weird way, they can say they had a go.
yeah.
Whereas you lose 1-0, the managers go, oh, it was fine margins. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You got absolutely battered. You put 11 men behind the ball, and you have no respect from anyone at the minute because you just parked the bus. Whereas at least Barnsley can go away thinking, at least we had a bit of a crack.
Well, that's what Conor Horan admitted, obviously, that he was disappointed with the overall performance for Barnsley. But he did say there were phases when they were good in the first half. They were still in the game, and also he said they're only the first team to score 2 goals at St Andrews since I think it was Peterborough.
Yeah.
Which is going back to October,
Yeah,
November time,
with 10 men as well.
whenever it was. Yeah. So but at the end of the day, for us, it's 3 more points. We're very close now. It's an exciting time, isn't it, to be a Blues fan? Because obviously we are going to go. We are going to get promoted. We are going to go up as champions, and we've got the Wembley final coming up as well. So it's fantastic, isn't it?
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. What a perfect note to end the podcast on. But how exciting times are we in, Blues fans? If we win at Peterborough on Tuesday, we are officially promoted. Not champions yet, but officially back promoted. And how exciting would that be to make that Wembley trip next Sunday? But as always, we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Maybe you're a Barnsley fan. Please let us know your thoughts as well. We like to hear from other fan bases on this channel as well. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify if you'd like to listen or watch your podcast over on that platform. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell notification so you get notified every time we post a video. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.